If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. We welcome you to today's show and ask those of you who have not subscribed to please subscribe to our YouTube channel as we continue to expose the satanic Illuminati agenda and the ushering in of the Antichrist. Today's show I wanted to do another Illuminati symbolism, Freemason symbolism exposed video. I did one on the hidden hand. Okay, this one's very similar to it, but you have to understand that it's not the same. The hidden hand is the hand underneath the jacket, slipped into the coat. This one I want to talk about today is the hand over the heart. Now, we've all been indoctrinated with this movement and this symbol, since we were children. And we've been led to believe it's the Pledge of Allegiance. So we put our hand over our heart and then we pledge allegiance to a flag. I'm not saying if you've ever done this, you've done something satanic, because you haven't, because this is a symbol that has dual meanings. So when we see others do this symbol, whether it's on magazine covers, whether it's out in public, whether it's for, the front page of a newspaper, our brains will automatically dismiss the symbol because we've been indoctrinated with the symbol. So we think that it's a pledge of allegiance to the United States of America when we see them do something like this, or a pledge of allegiance to another country. Right? When we see the president put his hand over his heart and he's on a magazine cover, you would say, oh, he must be doing it. Your brain wouldn't even think of the symbol, for starters. You wouldn't even notice his hand on his heart. But if you did, you would think he was pledging allegiance to the United States of America. But in fact, this symbol goes all the way back, as most of these symbols do, to ancient Egypt, to the mystery religions. Okay, the Egyptian Book of the Dead talks about transformations and rebirths by saying my heart and my mother, my heart of transformations. Like I say, they talk about the heart being, a form of transformation. And I've discussed on this channel that, even in the Rihanna videos that I've done, in these music videos, they've slipped in symbolism as far as the transformation is coming. Because the transformation that they're talking about is coming. The transformation, going to this transhuman race and the microchipping and all of these things that are to come. But the transformation of the Antichrist system and the ushering in of the Antichrist is the transformation they're discussing, and a transformation into the entire world worshiping Satan, the beast. Okay, that's the transformation that they're talking about. They've been talking about it over and over. You hear the word used, but people think, they're talking about something else, or they can't even fathom what they're talking about because they're in an alpha state, so they're not even thinking. But the heart itself is a centerpiece of devotion, and still in a lot of, satanic covens, not in these, quote unquote satanic churches, because I know Satanists will flood the wall and say, this is ridiculous. We believe in equal rights and people having religious freedoms and doing whatever they want. I'm talking about real Satanists, okay, people who actually worship Satan, the deity, who perform human sacrifices, who perform these pedophilia, acts on children and do all these things, paying homage to Satan, that follow the satanic calendar, perform these rituals. Okay, they still to this day, and it goes back to ancient Egypt, would sacrifice humans by removing the heart. Okay, so you probably have seen it before in movies and stuff like that, where they would show you a little telltale sign, where they placed, they stab the person in the heart, cut out the heart, and remove the heart. It's very tribal. Okay, it goes back to not just ancient Egypt. It's been going on since ancient Egypt. It still goes on today in covens, in actual satanic covens, not these false satanic churches. Okay, they take the heart out as part of the human sacrifice, and they actually eat the heart. And the video I did with Zachary King, which I reference a lot because there's a lot of stuff in there. He talks about during the abortion sacrifices that they would, once they did the ritual on the child, they would actually take the heart out of the child and eat the heart. Okay, while they were under demonic possession, as they would do these ritual chants for hours on end to become demonically possessed. And once the child was sacrificed, they would eat the insides of the child. These people eat human hearts. It's not a joke. And again, I'm not saying all Satanists do. I'm not accusing some loser guy in black lipstick who's a part of his church of Satan is doing this. I'm talking about real, true Satanists, the ones who actually worship the beast and are working for him and doing his bidding, not these ones on the front lines who are working for him and doing his bidding, but just don't have a clue about what's going on. So that's part of this hand over the heart. Okay, it goes back to that and the importance of the heart as far as in ancient Egypt and the mystery schools. And this is documented. This, you could read many books on Egyptian traditions. You could read the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. All of these books that talk about Egyptian tradition, these things are mentioned in it. And the Freemasons will openly admit that they still honor and practice the traditions of ancient Egypt. Of course, they'll never admit that they do this because they'd be imprisoned or people would wake up and see what's going on. But what they do is they openly admit that they practice Egyptian traditions. They openly do. A lot of people do. And there's a lot of people that practice it that don't necessarily do this or perform this because, they don't really even understand the true core of Satanism or Egyptian mythology and the mystery religions. But again, the Freemasons will openly admit to practicing Egyptian traditions. So link the two together. Okay, so within, the Illuminati, when the initiates are taught and they're trained and they go through this process of being illuminated, they must devote their hearts to the craft. Okay, to the top elitists, to the secret chiefs, and to their fellow brothers in the craft, in the occult. Okay, so through this initiation, they devote their lives to that order, no matter what the plan is. Once they're in, they're devoted to it. There's no way out. I'm not saying their soul can't be saved. They can't repent. I'm saying as far as this order goes, the Illuminati, Satanism, Freemasonry, when you get to this level, when you are indoctrinated with it, when you devote your heart to the craft, they devote their lives to this order. So no matter what the plan is, no matter what's ordered down, these people have to follow the order that they are given, the plan that is given, and the plan comes from Satan and the fallen angels that they summon from the spiritual realms, okay, to come up with these plans, to come up with this plan of a new world order and how to usher it in. So when you see these guys on magazine covers, we see celebrities doing it. Like I've said over and over, nobody looks for hand signs, right? Sometimes they'll do blatantly obvious symbols where you'll say, wow, that is a little bit weird, where they will put their hand over their eye or do the 666 sign over their eye and make it really look obvious. But still people think they're just goofing around because, people refuse to believe in symbols. And if you read, the Freemason books, Morals and Dogma, but, if you read Albert Pike's books or any of these other guys, Manly P. Hall, they talk openly about how secret codes and secret symbols run and control the world. But the cattle and the people who are sound asleep, they refuse to believe stuff like that. So they don't see symbols because they've been trained not to see symbols. They've been trained to be asleep on their devices, not to be at a conscious level, and not to notice stuff like that. These people are raised the opposite way, where they can constantly speak in color coding on television, through hand symbols, through all of these different things that we would never notice because we haven't been indoctrinated with it. We've been, dumbed down and led in a different direction. And that's how they've gotten this power and this control, is through using secret symbols. So this is just another one. So when you see people, on covers of magazines, look for the symbols. Look for somebody putting their hand over their heart. Understand that, if you see some celebrity actor putting his hand over his heart on the cover of a magazine, he is not pledging allegiance to the United States of America. Okay? Look for their hands. Look at what they're doing, whether they're hiding the hand, whether they're doing the 666, whether they're doing the peace sign. These all have hidden meanings. They're not just doing it, because they want world peace or because they're saying, A-OK, this is a message to the brotherhood, to the craft. And the hand over the heart, like I said, is not a pledge to allegiance. And if you've done it before, it doesn't mean that you have been indoctrinated with some occultic belief and you need to do something to wash it off, or you should be afraid or something like that. They have dual meanings to these symbols so that when you see it, if you snap out of an alpha state and you see somebody doing this symbol, you will just automatically think it's Pledge of Allegiance. Your brain's been trained that way and you won't think anything of it. And then when someone like me says something like this or exposes the Masonic lodges and their symbols, people already have an answer for it and they go, that's ridiculous. We know that the hand over the heart means a Pledge of Allegiance. We know that the two fingers held up means peace. It doesn't mean they're paying homage to Satan. And that's how they've been getting away with this stuff. So look for these symbols on all of these, magazine covers, newspapers prominently placed, and painted photos from, that go way back. Because the symbols, they go way back. These people will get portraits painted of themselves doing these symbols so that future generations of Masons and elitists and the Illuminati would know who was a part of the Brotherhood and who wasn't. So they could still pay homage to that person and still carry on his legacy. That's why you still hear about all of these forefathers from so many centuries ago. These people were all Masonic. They were all part of the occult. They're all part of the craft. And they still continue to worship them to this day. They continue to get us to worship these people to this day. And they continue to do their best to get people to stop remembering who Jesus Christ Yeshua is because they want people to worship Benjamin Franklin and George Washington and these forefathers, and people easily do because people just go, yeah, man, boy, those guys are really great. And they carry on the legacy of all their former Masonic brothers. They continue to pay homage to them, and as they continue to try to eliminate the name Jesus Christ Yeshua from society, as they continue to try to wipe the Bible off the face of the earth for their ultimate goal of ending Christianity, ushering in, Satan and the Antichrist and this new world order. And we know the trumpets are going to sound. We know this plan of theirs is going to be stopped. It's been written. It is prophecy. But I'm just pointing out what they're doing and why they do it. So be aware of it and look for these symbols when you read anything or you look for anything. Just look where their hands are. Before you look at their face, before you look at their hair, before you look at their coat, look at their hands and see what they're doing. And then look it up. Look into it. There's plenty of books exposing the symbols. There's plenty of books exposing, Illuminati, Masonic hand symbols and things like that. But look for those before you look at their jacket and go, oh, is that Armani? Who cares what it is? You really care what this cloth this guy's wearing is? Why don't you look for the symbols so you can see who's a part of the Brotherhood? Oh, wait, they all are. But when you see the symbols, then you could point to other people and say, look at this. Here's this symbol. Look, why are they doing this? Why are they constantly doing it? And start opening up people's minds, start awakening people little by little so we could lead their souls back to Jesus Christ Yeshua, because that's the only way to our Father. He is the truth, the way, and the life. So we have to do our best to wake people up. So these symbols, keep exposing them. I'll keep exposing them. Keep sharing this with your friends. Let people know what these symbols truly mean and that they have dual meanings and that we've been duped into, when we see these symbols thinking that it means something that it isn't, such as the hand over the heart. We constantly think it's a pledge of allegiance. It is an Illuminati pledge to the Brotherhood, to the occult. It's an allegiance to them, to one another, and they're showing it to each other, but we don't notice it anywhere we look because we constantly think it has a different meaning. And that's the same with most of these hand symbols. So get the message out. Thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families. May peace be with you.